biases or marketing triggers that you hear a lot about in marketing. And obviously, if you can put together a pitch or a proposal or a product that can have as many of these triggers as possible, it drives a lot of behavior where people want the thing. So I've invested in myself, learned Tai Lopez's 39 triggers. And as part of how I absorb it and how I learn things is learning how to teach it back. And again, if there's anything I can leave for my kids, it's what am I leaving for them? The lessons, the skills, the relationships. That's what's most important, right? This information I really wish I would have had it since I was young. And explain it in a way that other people can digest it, right? That's what's really important. So let's go through a few triggers today. I want to talk about the reward bias. Now, a reward bias, think about just your food, right? Sometimes you eat french fries and it just tastes so good. It's just the food, it releases the dopamine, right? That triggers a part of your brain to release the dopamine. When you drink soda or when you have sugar, when you have high fructose corn syrup, doesn't matter what it is, but it triggers that dopamine release. And that reward bias is so important. This is why when you see people have ads or people have videos, there's usually a hook, there's usually some sort of substance, and then they give you that reward for watching. That's what's powerful, right? You click this, you get this automatically, and you get a reward. You made that time worth it. And that's what makes a powerful ad. That's what makes a powerful product is how much reward are you giving them for the action that they took or just the time that they spent with you. Very important. All right. Next one is Ty refers it to minimizing pain, right? Oh, one more thing. Do not lead with pain. Such a good one. I just wish someone would have said that. See, this is some of the direction that I wish I would have learned in the beginning. Because sometimes you hear a lot about like, oh, do you wake up at night and you don't feel comfortable? Do you, or, like when you lead with pain, it doesn't have the same effect. You want to lead with the reward. And that's something I wish my daughter can always understand. All right. Lead with the reward. All right. So let's talk about minimizing pain. Right. You want to be able to make it believable, but you also want to understand, like, hey, let's say you want to learn to be a developer. Hey, I don't, the minimizing pain would be, hey, I don't want you to ever think like, hey, I could have gone bigger. I could have done more. I could have became a developer. Instead, I played small and I stayed in just a single family world. That could be a minimizing pain trigger for some folks, right? And this is why in general, the stat he threw out was that 75% of the people will not like you talking about pain. There are going to be 25% that will do it, but 75% of the people will not like you talking about pain, right? Minimizing pain. Hey, you could be making $10,000, $15,000 on the beach, passive income. That's what's been sold to us in real estate, right? Hey, you get to make passive income, you get to sit on the beach and do nothing. And you get to quit your 9 to 5. That's how you minimize pain, right? Interesting. Okay. So then the other trigger is he talks a lot about debatable versus controversial. Now, controversial stuff is very on the wide end of the spectrum, right? Think about some of your presidents, they're very controversial, but they get people thinking about them. But it can drive you crazy because if you can't handle that many people hating you, like truly hating you, wanting you dead, I mean, that is strong stuff. That's not a position I want to be in, right? But you get to decide what you want to do, right? But then there is debatable, right? So you don't want to overstep the line, but when you have things that are debatable, let's say your best type of diet or your best type of exercise, best type of routine, right? That's debatable. You can get people talking about it, but it doesn't go far off to like, hey, this is the only way you should work out. Like everybody should only lift weights and that's all they do. Or someone would say, hey, all you need is just cardio, blah, blah, blah. That's debatable, right? That's how you trigger people to engage with your product, engage with your message. So this one is very easy to step over the line if you're not careful. But I mean, you see this in politics a lot, right? One side says all the way this, if this happens and the world's over. If this happens, it's all over. Just be very mindful when you are listening to messages out there and just try to think for yourself. Think for yourself and find out the truth and challenge it, right? Challenge it. Then there's other trigger called patriotism. It's not that used that often. I mean, the military uses the patriotism trigger a lot because you got to learn how to recruit for people for using the love of your country, right? As one of the ways to persuade folks to join the military. I mean, it is a high risk job, right? He talks a lot about how you have sometimes an energy drink with an American flag on it, and that'll beat the competition. Interesting, right? Interesting. And we talked about tribalism the other day, but I think tribalism is a smaller version of patriotism, right? Different magnitudes. Then the liking trigger. We hear this phrase all the time. People do business with folks that they know, like, and trust. And these are emotion based triggers, right? And you have to understand that most of the time, probably 80% of the world thinks with their emotions, right? They're illogical. So you got to make sure that you are a likable person. What you can do every single day is remember people's names, remember what they care about, remember what they like. Take a genuine interest in other people because if you're being inauthentic, people will see right through that. But this is why you got to learn, right? You got to learn to like folks. And I learned this from other woman named Vanessa Van Hudgens. For you to be likable, right? If you want to be liked more, all you got to do is just like others more. That's it. It's kind of crazy. Like the most popular kids in high school from their studies said that the most popular kids were just people that liked other people more. They found ways to like them. They found ways to see the good in them. They found ways to just share some dopamine, spread some positive vibes. And that's really all you got to do, right? Then there's a dark triad trigger, Machiavellian, where it's kind of someone where they speak nice to you, but then they talk crap behind your back. It's tough. Those folks, you just got to be very careful about them. And sometimes they'll review themselves to you when you talk to them, right? Be careful, but understand that different personalities have different triggers that appeals to them more. So you have to understand how to read the folks that you're in the room with and understand what type of personalities they are. Because you got to understand some of these triggers won't work on other folks, right? If you're working with a person that's an action taker and you try to use the urgency trigger in the wrong way, right? Not genuine urgency, but you try to say, "Oh, you're gonna miss out." They don't that doesn't work on them. You have to understand how that works. All right. And then finally, last trigger I would cover today is confidence. When you feel confident walking into a room, people can feel your energy. People can feel your vibe. When you are acting small and timid, people will pick up on that, right? If you're anxious, you're gonna make them feel anxious. But if you're confident, you're relaxed, then the energy gets spread. So just be very, very mindful. You have nervous sweats, someone's gonna feel it. I heard this from other woman named Vanessa, where when you shake people's hands, naturally sometimes humans will, after shaking someone's hand, you would touch your nose, and it's almost like you're trying to smell the other person. Very weird, right? But sometimes a lot of people do it without even noticing. That's just what humans do. And if you have nervous sweat on your hands, guess what? They're gonna smell the nervousness in you. It's so weird. No one ever taught me this. But that's why so doubling down right now on communication, how to vary the tonality in how I talk to show my intent, whether I care about that person, whether I'm curious about something, learning how to pause when I talk, learning how, not how to speak so fast, which makes you sound a little bit, just a little bit more nervous when you speak too fast. But when you vary your tone, then you become more captivating because people are going to think that, hey, you know what you're doing. Because if you didn't, how else can you be so calm? Right? There's these things about making eye contact. It's making eye contact at the end of your statement. Or you might be thinking along the lines, but then you don't want to end up or end the question asking it, such as, hey, my name's Kent. You don't want to do that because then it sounds like you're not confident in your own name. Are you asking me that your name is Kent? This is interesting. And I've heard so many other people. I mean, if you can't convince yourself, I mean, you're not going to be able to convince others. So when you can walk into a room with that level of conviction, but stay open minded, because that's what great leaders do, that they are generally willing to change decisions or change their mind when new information is reviewed. And it's so interesting. Oh, I love learning all this stuff. And I hope this is helpful for all of you because this is such an important skill set that in a world where there's going to be more and more AI, when there's going to be more and more technology out there, when there's going to be more and more fake gurus out there, you're going to have to be forced to decide what you believe and who you believe and why. And if you want other people to be on your side, you're going to want to be convincing, confident, and share just enough information in a way that's relatable so that other people will believe you. Because I think trust is going to come a lot harder in the future. And I hope that people will trust my kids, your kids, because they learned these skills. All right. I hope you all have an amazing Thursday. Again, this is not investment wise. I'm not soliciting any investment on this call. I'm just trying to become a better dad. And I always thought about, hey, what if this is the video that my daughter watches when she clicks on it randomly when she wakes when she's a lot older, she clicks on it and says, hey, what is that even talking about? Well, I hope this was helpful and I hope you can apply this to some parts of your life. All right, have an amazing Thursday, everybody. I'll see y'all tomorrow for day 5, 6, 7. Have a good one.